Good morning. We are officially 2 weeks in, and welcome back to Walk and Talk, where I walk and talk about all the things I've learned, the shortcomings, the lessons learned, the hard periods, the epiphanies, everything regarding not only my weight loss journey, but I guess my self improvement journey, and the things, the steps, the changes I have made in my life in order to overcome the challenges and like the shortcomings that I have found during the process. And I just want to share them with you guys. So hopefully, if you are on a journey yourself or looking to start one, hopefully you can do it in much less time than me and much better than me. And you could just leapfrog me, get way better than me, way quicker. Yeah, that's the goal here. So today, what I want to talk about is another difficult topic, not as hard as last time. First walk and talk, we talked about the decision to actually, make a change in your life. And that's kind of like step zero. That's ground zero. You have to make that decision. And then immediately after that, the next hardest part, you got to take the action. You have to actually take action on that decision and do something. You have to, if it's losing weight, you need to actually get out there and either start walking or get in the pool, get some calories burning, change up your diet a little bit, don't eat out as much, whatever it might be. You need to take an initial step to begin the momentum to start the change. So that was the first walk and talk. Second walk and talk, we went over kind of reframing the way that I have reframed a lot of things in my life, from even just the idea of failures. Failures aren't, some cataclysmic, terrible thing. Failure is just the first attempt, the second attempt, the third attempt. There's always another on the road. You can always do more. You can always try again. And so the idea of failure is more of a lesson learned and just an initial attempt, as opposed to, I don't know, some kind of ending, like you're never going to reach it because you failed. As well as difficulties, problems arising in life. Of course, they're bound to happen. Sometimes life can really kick the shit out of you. And the reframing of that into just a challenge. It's just a challenge. Life is going to challenge you. You got to get after it. And you got to face that challenge head on, And it'll force you to be better in the end. So for today, we're going to focus on one of the big things. I've talked about this before just a little bit, but I think one of the biggest things for me, Walk and Talk 3, is going to be getting rid of the negatives, finding the bad habits, identifying the bad habits along the way, and lessening them, or just removing them altogether. And so as you're developing the good habits, you do need to realize that there are the bad habits there. For me, the bad habits I had to realize was some simple ones, like I'm a procrastinator, 100%. And I mean a top-notch procrastinator at that. I am on another level, a master procrastinator, if you will. And so for me, for the gym, for the planning of this, everything, I realized that I don't hold enough self-accountability on myself to actually go through with a lot of the things. And that's a me problem, that's something that I have to work on. And I just realized that because I don't have that self-accountability and because I am a procrastinator, the two together make it so that a lot of times I'll say I'm going to post on Monday, and then it's Monday morning and I haven't even started. You know what I mean? So how am I going to post on Monday when I haven't even begun the idea for like what I'm going to do, the editing, the filming? Nothing. None of it has been done at all. And I don't even have like a set schedule of when, I'm going to do it. Like after work makes sense, but am I actually going to sit down and do that? That is the other thing. So I had to identify that that is a bad habit of mine, that I procrastinate. And then for me, like maybe this isn't as big of a problem. So maybe for you, like you really don't have to go into this amount of depth that I'm going into. So maybe for you, it's not about coming up with a whole new schedule and everything like that. But for me, in order to fix my issue, I had to actually kind of come up with a schedule. So I have set times now that I have to get out of the door and actually do something. And that leads into kind of another one. Like if I do not leave the house, I will not leave the house. I am too much of a homebody. I love just vegging out and doing nothing. I mean, who doesn't, right? Like some gaming, some shows, a little bit of TV, some snacks, and just hang out all day, right? Like bliss. But I realized that that is a bad habit. So especially on weekends, I figured out that I was tossing away weekends. But really, weekends are the opportunity for me to get the most work in, not only in the gym, but from editing and planning and everything else. This is the time when I don't have to work, right? I don't have work, so I can take the opportunity to actually put time into everything else. And so it makes zero sense to waste it on just gaming and TV. So again, forcing myself out of the door, and not in a bad way. Like I'm not like dragging my feet out the door and begrudgingly full of terror heading out into the day, but instead it's more about coming up with something that I enjoy doing, like walking like this. Like the first thing I do is I go and grab a coffee, and then I hit a walk somewhere that I enjoy walking, or I find a new spot and I go and check it out and I see if it's worth it. And so that gets me out of the door with a little bit of excitement, you know what I mean? Like maybe you enjoy disc golf, maybe you enjoy boxing. Like go hit the boxing gym first thing. Let that be the thing that gets you out the door. And then after that, like have your bag packed with your gym clothes or whatever other clothes, and just change in between. Like give yourself little to no reason to have to go back home and like give yourself the temptation to just like regress and sit back down and do nothing, because that's exactly what I would do. So me, I have everything ready to go. I get out there and I enjoy the first thing in the morning with what I like doing, and then I continue the day from there on, hitting the gym, getting in all the work I got to do on the laptop, things like that. So it's chaining those together and realizing that my bad habit is just like the homebody and the procrastination. They kind of go hand in hand, you know? Like a lot of times what I've noticed is that they build on top of each other. So one issue leads to the next, and then they end up compounding, and it just makes it worse and worse. So those are little things that I've done. Another big one is like your temptations, your huge temptations, especially from a food standpoint, especially if it is a... One sec, let me let this go over. All right, the other huge one for me are like food temptations, like snacks and things like that that you absolutely freaking love, especially if they're not good for you. My biggest one, or one of my biggest ones, I have many, chips. If I have a bag of chips, you bet your ass that thing is gone. I will finish it all. I will absolutely pound it down. Zero remorse if anybody else gets any or not, because I'm getting after it. Those are my chips. I love the saltiness. I love the crunch. Like, that's all me. 110%. That is all me. So when I know that, I don't usually keep chips on hand, because if I have a pantry chock full of chips, I'm going to tear through every single bag, one after the other. Next thing I know, I'm up in weight, you know? So you have to realize those bad habits as well. Like what snacks, what foods tempt you the most. And if you can take the time to like kind of pull those away from you, even if it's not like the best way is not having them on hand. I will grab a bag of chips every couple weeks, every 3 weeks, something like that, and I'll enjoy it. But like also having the ability to like stop yourself from eating the whole bag is another very tough thing. So if you know that you don't have the discipline to be like, I have had 2 servings already, I probably shouldn't have a third, fourth, and fifth, even though I want to. It's just easier not to even have it there, right? And maybe it's about buying the smaller bags, maybe it's about buying the snack packs and things like that, as opposed to getting the like family size bag or something like that. But for me, it's having that, enjoying it throughout a couple of days, as opposed to just mowing it down, getting it all gone, and then not purchasing it for at least a couple more weeks. And that just helps me balance things out a little bit more and not feed that bad habit. So that's another one. Maybe for you it's a certain candy or something like that. I have limited some of the candies that I bring into the house and things like that, and that's just to avoid the temptation. Why tempt yourself? You know what I mean? And there's plenty of other things that I really enjoy, like tons of fruit and like making a parfait for yourself or something like that. Getting some yogurt, getting some fruit, some granola or something like that, and just like putting that all together for yourself. Very, very good. And you use like no sugar chocolate sauce or something, and it just ties it together, and it's like a dessert, man. It is so good. And so yeah, it's just little micro habits like that that you know that aren't leading you to any of your goals and are actually pulling away from them, and adjusting those things to help yourself not be pushed in the direction of the bad habits. So taking those and, like I said, avoiding the temptation, or like changing the habit around altogether to help benefit you. You know what I mean? There are so many things that you can do that help yourself out. Maybe it's packing the bag early, like getting the gym bag ready, because I'll procrastinate and I'll be like, I need to be out of here by 9 a.m. and then it's 8:55 and I haven't even grabbed anything, and I'm like, oh, I'll get to it in a second. And then that second turns into a few minutes. That few minutes turns into an hour or two. And the next thing I know, it's like 3 p.m. and I've already had to work and everything. And now, just now, I can get started. And so I've already lost so much of the day because of that procrastination. So there are those micro habits that you got to change in order to get things together and establish those better habits. So identifying the bad habits is like step one, and that's definitely a tough part. I think you just got to kind of think and look at yourself when you're like sitting at home and it's 9 p.m. and you didn't do anything, because I've been there time after time after time. And you have to ask yourself, like, what could I have done in that time that would have changed things? Like, what would have made it better? What would have made it productive? What did I do instead of getting a walk in, instead of hitting the pool and swimming around a little bit, instead of going and playing basketball with my buddies? Like, what did I do? And did I game the whole time? Maybe it's about pulling back on the gaming. Maybe you put a timer on yourself, you know what I mean? Maybe you have to put a 1-hour timer on in order to avoid getting sucked into an entire day of gaming, into an entire night of gaming. And it's not about fully pushing those away. Like, life is truly really not about extremes. It's about balance. You have to find the balance. But is it important to you? Like, do you really want to feel better and be healthier, lose the weight? Do you really want to make that side business, and do you want it to be successful? Or are you just kind of like, that sounds cool, I could do that, sure? Like, that's where you have to find the balance, you know? There's give and take in absolutely every aspect of life. And so identifying the bad habits, identifying what's like keeping you short on things that you want. What are you putting time into that you could put a little less time into? Again, you don't have to get rid of it, but what could you put a little less time into that would give you more time to lots of other things that would be meaningful to you, that would help you create things, that would help you reach your goals? I think that's it, guys. I think that's really it. It's just about identifying the habits, and that's a tough one, because you have to really look at yourself and think about your day-to-day. And like, that is tough. That is very tough. So if you notice, like, you're sitting, I also doom scroll. So like, I got rid of a lot of the social media apps, and like, I don't have TikTok, and it's because I will sit and just scroll and scroll and scroll. So you either need to put a timer on it, limit yourself, get one of those apps that limits it for you, or just get rid of it. And like, do I miss it? I honestly do not. And that's surprising to me. I thought I'd be like always feeling like I need to get back to it. Like it's like I'm missing out on all these cool videos. Like, whatever. So you just gotta slowly look at yourself, identify, like, if you were planning on being productive and you notice some time has passed, an hour or something like that, look down, look around, realize what you did for that time. That's a bad habit. If you realize you're always running past the counter, grabbing a handful of Skittles, grabbing a handful of M&Ms, toss them, and you're wondering why you haven't hit your weight loss goals, that's probably a bad habit. So you got to pick apart your life. That's a really tough thing to do, but you can do it. You just got to put a little time behind looking internally, looking at your environment, seeing what's pulling away from your success, because you're capable of success. You just got to pull those bad habits out. So I'm going to finish up this walk. You guys get started on finding those bad habits, kick them to the curb, start your story, get going, and be successful. Because like I said, you got it in you. So get after it, guys, and I will catch you in the next one. Look better, feel better, be better. Let's go.